Expedition 33, Clair Obscur, has one of the most captivating and somber openings to a story I think I've ever seen, and it's such an amazing example of what a game can look like when the team behind it genuinely loves what they do, and they put that care into telling a great story. This is my personal game of the year, and I will be spoiling the first hour or so of the story, so here's your spoiler warning. But it is just a prologue and a very, very small part of the first act. The main bulk of the game is safe. We start our journey in Lumiere, a fractured, broken version of Paris, showcased by the bent Eiffel Tower and some of the destroyed architecture. There's also this giant monolith in the background with the number 34 written on it. It is here we meet Gustave, the main protagonist of our story, lost deep in thought while looking over Lumiere and that giant monolith. We also see this very beautiful rose that he's collected for something. During Gustave's brooding, we are interrupted by Maëlle, and it's through their conversation we learn that today is Gustave's ex-girlfriend Sophie's Gommage. It's not exactly clear what the Gommage is yet, but it's clearly very important to Gustave, and the rose is to commemorate this occasion. We set out with Maëlle, and after some very French parkour, we rappel down the side of a building, descending to the streets of Lumiere, and it's here that we meet Sophie for the first time. Gustave gifts Sophie the rose that he was holding, and there's clearly a bit of awkwardness, but they're happy to see each other. Sophie's wearing a floral necklace, made of similar roses to the one Gustave bought. From this point, we're able to play as Sophie or Gustave, it's up to the player. In a conversation with the first NPC we meet, Tiffany, we find out that it's not just Sophie's Gommage today, but anyone who's wearing flowers will also Gommage. There's also a Gommage ceremony in the city, and as we journey towards it, Sophie reassures Gustave that he will be okay after her Gommage. We also learn that it's tied to age, and everyone who is 33 years old will Gommage. It's still not clear what that means, but we know that the people of Lumiere prepare their whole lives for their Gommage day. We explore the city, playing as either Gustave or Sophie. By the way, the game has this super cool feature where you can just change character by pressing a button instead of playing around with menus. It's just a really nice touch. But anyway, we talk to some NPCs like this lady who will also partake in her Gommage today, and she's concerned for her daughter's future. It's during this conversation that Sophie opens up about her decision not to want children, as she believes the world inside Lumiere is cruel, and it was that decision that ruined her relationship with Gustave. After this, we meet another NPC, a painter, and this conversation serves as the game's dodge tutorial. He wants to paint a picture of the couple dancing to some music being performed in the game's background. Instead of using a simple cutscene or fade, the game has a center combat, with Sophie attacking and Gustave dodging, acting as the dance sequence. And he paints this very nice artwork of the two. This is a really great and immersive way to introduce the game's mechanics while making the game and its characters feel more alive. As we head deeper into the city and towards the harbour, we find out through a conversation with Sophie and Gustave about the paintress, who is a giant lady who sits below that monolith with the number 34 on it, and somehow is the one responsible for the Gommage, whatever that may be. We talk to a few more NPCs and we find out about the expeditions, which take place the day after the Gommage each year. We're still not quite sure what the expeditions or the Gommage is yet, but we know that Gustave is among this year's recruits, and the device he's made, the Lumina Converter, will help them a lot. To Gustave's surprise, we also see Maëlle here, Gustave commenting that Maëlle typically doesn't like or participate in these festivals, with Maëlle commenting that she's not here for the festival, just helping some orphans of Lumiere, as she was once one herself. We finally reach the harbour, and we meet Gustave's apprentices, who with Sophie's help has repaired his broken expeditioner uniform. Sophie likes a man in uniform and wanted to see him wear it one more time before her Gommage. He puts it on, and we head down to the site of the Gommage, the harbour, with those who are not participating watching from behind. Gustave gets to go down there, but he has plot armor, we'll forgive it this time. The Gommage starts, and we see the paintress moving for the first time, and the whole world pauses as the game only shows us Gustave, Sophie, and the paintress Lumiere, and everyone else is gone. It's this great cinematic effect, as until this point the world's been very vibrant and we've had music to accompany us the entire time. It really drives how important this moment is. As she moves, she erases the number 34 and replaces it with 33, and the Gommage starts. I don't think any narration I can do the Gommage justice, so I'll just let it play.
I'm here.
I know.
And just like that, they're gone. Almost all the characters we've met to this point, even Sophie, the character we've been playing, are gone, leaving just Gustav standing alone on the pier. We're not finished with the game's prologue yet, but I'd like to talk about how powerful and beautifully written this section was. The game does this incredible job of keeping things just casual enough that you're never really quite sure of what's going to happen at the Gommage. We know it's bad, but whenever you speak to any of the NPCs or listen to Sophie, they're not sad or scared, it's just very somber. More like they're going away from Lumiere rather than dying. And letting us play as Sophie for the prologue and using her perspective for the majority of cutscenes drives home just how much love the devs put into this game. Sophie may not have been the main character of our story, but the use of Sophie as one of the playable characters really drives home how she was the main character of Gustav's story, and she was very important to him. They really took the time to think about and flesh out each character as well, to the point that these characters could have different stories in and of themselves. Like Marie, the character that Sophie talks to at the start of the game about having a child with Gustav. We see her Gommage in this cutscene, and just like Sophie, she had her own life and her own family, and they make sure to take care to show that. They're built with so much attention to detail that it's hard to believe that they just killed them off so early into the game. In some lesser games, these characters could well be party members. The Gommage and the concept of the slow extinction of humanity is not a new or novel concept, but the delivery of the game is really what makes it shine. It's so well written, and there's such a great attention to detail that it's really hard to not be attached to these characters, even though you know they're probably going away soon. The Gommage is over, and it's nighttime now. At this point, we only play as Gustav, who we find being cheered up and consoled by some other expeditioners, now all in uniform and ready to go and having a drink before they leave tomorrow. At this point, it begins to set in of what the expedition's goal is. It's to stop the Paintress, and they're in the Gommage. Gustav is still in grief, but we push on and mingle, meeting some of our new potential companions, including this year's expedition commander and leader, Alan. After speaking to Alan and a few other of the expeditioners who were all just as fleshed out as the Gommage NPCs from earlier, we head down to speak to Mael, who's alone on the pier. We find out that everyone leaving for the expedition tomorrow will Gommage next year, and instead of dying peacefully, they leave Lumiere in an attempt to stop the Paintress. Except Mael, who it turns out is still a teenager. She doesn't need to travel yet or go on an expedition. But all she has left is Gustav, so she'd rather go with him on an expedition than stay in Lumiere alone. The night is coming to a close, and we meet Gustav's sister, Emma, who is the chief counselor of Lumiere. She gives a speech where she talks about how the expeditions will stop the Paintress. During this speech, the game plays this really hype music. I won't play it here because it's quite long, but it really gets you ready to go out and fight the enemy. We set out, and we arrive at the beach on the continent, and we disembark, and things are seemingly normal. And we look around in the distance and we see no one, but we hear an old man approaches us, and more importantly than anything, he's old, in a world that we can only be young. Alan questions this man and starts talking to him, and suddenly, without warning...
How did you survive the Gommage? Which expedition are you from? Fall back!
Just as things were starting to let up, we were attacked again. NPCs we thought were going to be our new companions were suddenly wiped out in an instant. Just like the Gommage, but more brutal, as we're attacked by this old man and Neverons, this game's version of monsters. We wake up as Gustav, alone, all our companions gone, either Gommaged or lost on the beach. And that's the opening of Clair Obscur. Okay, so, whoever decided on the sound design of the walking stick, A star. In a game where the story is so specifically designed around age, the use of the walking stick is such an ingenious design as a prop. Not only does it build the suspense with the sound effect itself as a general noise, but it's such a great idea to show that this man is not like the rest of us. The reveal of the attack is also just incredible because at this point, we'd only seen the Gommage, which is quite sad, but also quite gentle. It's somber, but you never really feel in danger even as it happens, and that shows in the characters as well. They accept what's coming. But the attack is different, it's sudden, and it comes just as you think the worst of it is over, and just as you're on the offensive. It's such a great curveball to introduce fleshed out NPCs only to Gommage them, and then introduce fleshed out expeditioners only to do it again. It really makes you realize that things can change at the drop of a hat in this world. I think this game honestly might be one of the greatest writings in terms of the opening to a story I've ever seen. I'm not even talking about video games, I'm talking about stories. I'm not sure how much justice my commentary has done it, but it's beautifully told. It feels so natural, and the performances by the voice actors are incredibly well delivered. The Gommage and the use of Sophie as a temporary protagonist, which the devs definitely did not need to do, is such an amazing way of delivering the story that makes us care for the character. And then the attack on the beach brings it full circle, with the Gommage being Sophie's tragedy and the beach Gustav's. It's such a great way of setting the tone of the game. I honestly might turn this into a full series, but I'm not quite sure yet, looking at the other aspects and acts of the game. The whole story of this game is incredible. It's not just the opening. I thoroughly recommend it. But anyway, I appreciate the watch. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, sub, whatever you want. Actually, do you know what? Do what you want. I don't really care what you do. Just cheers for watching the video. But if you thought it was stupid, you can tell me that as well. Anyway, bye.